Y'all, Cleo's doing an amazing job with this. Follow her.
Thank you, Ron.
You can be financially free with Cleo.
Hey, this is Cleo with CleoYogaFinance.com, and welcome back for another episode of Financially Free with Cleo, a show where we shift mindsets with real and raw money conversations with everyday people, empowering you to take action, appreciate the journey, and live the lifestyle you desire, financially, mentally, and physically. And today we have a special guest. He is the co-owner of a real estate company in Nashville, Tennessee, the Barkley and Hodges Group, who is well known for its vast knowledge and experience in design, renovation, and new construction. Whether you're an experienced real estate investor or a first-time buyer, he can help you find the property of your dreams. With his degree and past experience in accounting, he understands that the vast majority of people, the purchase or sale of a home is their largest single investment. His goal is to guide you successfully and easily through the contractual investment and emotional decisions involved in the real estate process. He is also a longtime friend of mine. We go way back to high school. So I'm super excited for you to be here. So welcome to the show, Ron Hodges. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. And thank you, Cleo, so much for inviting me on your show. I've been waiting to do this for a while now. So thank you again for allowing me to be part of your audience. And hey, guys, I'm here to answer any questions.
Yes, we've been trying to get this done for a long time. So this is long overdue. So I'm excited to share, for you to share your story and share what you're doing nowadays. So we can just go ahead and jump on in there. So as you know, and everyone out there listening knows, I like to start with our childhood first. So just share with us, about your childhood, how you grew up, and how you first learned about money.
Wow, that is a nice question, Cleo, and it's long.
I know.
Uh, so, when you, I guess going back to my childhood, money, it always come up, but it more so came up in the form of credit. And my mom, she instilled it in us, me and my sisters, that without credit, you can't really buy much or anything. So one thing she did teach us was make sure you pay your bills on time. And this started early because my mom, she always had A1 credit. So just knowing that, and like I would see my mom like anytime we want to go somewhere or she wanted to do something, she would just say, well, she wanted to go get a new car. She was just like, well, I know I got A1 credit. I can go get whatever I want. Now I'm not saying that she would go do that and just like overextend herself with credit. Like
Mhm.
my mom, like she instilled in us, don't overextend your credit lines, like keep it in good balance because at the end of the day, credit cards, they have a very, very high interest rate. They can have a high interest rate and they can take people under. Like a lot of people are in huge credit cards that because the interest is so large on them. But that's my childhood, how we grew up. Like I guess I would say it was middle class family or whatnot that I come from. Like we grew up originally in Florida, and then we transitioned to Tennessee back in '96. And mom worked two jobs to get us through to support me and my sisters come from a single family home. So between that and her managing her credit that way, she got us through. And then I ended up getting a full ride to college. So I didn't really have to take out much student loan debt. I ended up taking out about, I would say about $10,000 in student loan debt, and that's already paid off. So
Yeah.
just I guess more so my lifestyle just been learning more and more about financing and how can I better grow my assets, and it's all about what I've learned in this short amount of time on earth is if you don't know, partner up with people that can help you get to where you want to be.
Mm.
And I say that to say, like, even in my real estate business, I didn't know everything starting off. My business partner, she's been in the business now for 20 years. Her name is Sally Barkley. But one thing I will say about Sally, Sally is smart as a whip when it comes to teaching others about how you can grow your portfolio in the real estate market. Like she'll tell me stuff, I'm like, man, I don't believe this. And then I was like, I would watch her though, but and you know what happened? She would what the advice she gave me, she would actually go and do it. And then I would see it pay off for her. And I was like, all right, I am like getting behind. Like, what am I doing in my life? So I'll be honest, like the house I'm in now, I live out. She was like, go buy in that area. Like, again, we're both real estate agents, but she was like, I'm saying this to say she had already invested in the area well before I was ready to buy again. And she was like, you know what? This is going to be the newest and hottest area. This is well before I even started thinking about this area where I'm living now. And again, smart decisions, because guess what? The soccer stadium is going up now. It's started called instant. It's called getting equity in this place. So again, sometimes it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people that can help you get to where you want to be.
Yes, I'm glad you shared that because I think that's a reminder for all of us that we don't have to do this or figure it out alone, and we could progress much faster and in better ways. Like you said, if you partner with people that can help you, elevate your financial lifestyle. And when you talked about your mom, having A1 credit, like when I was a kid, I didn't know anything about any type of credit, but it is good that she taught you about, like what credit is and, how to use it to work for you and not necessarily against you. And I know you mentioned the credit card debt. Yeah, a lot of us can get spiraled out of control, like with the credit cards, but I'm glad that there are people out there that can teach you how to use it in a way that it could help you versus putting you further into debt,
Exactly.
But
And go ahead. I was going to say, I'm not saying that I've never come to the fact of I've like overextended my credit, because let's be honest, we all are young at one time. And when I first graduated college, oh my gosh, I lived the lifestyle of the now influencer. Like, I feel like that was my lifestyle. Like, everything was on credit for the most part. Horrible decisions. I knew better. Listen, I freaking knew better. But again, we live, we learn, and we just like, why in the world did I do this? I racked up so much credit card debt, but I've paid majority of all that credit card debt off. And so
yeah,
now I'm in a better place. But it just goes to say, we all gonna live and learn, but in the end of the day, take heed from people that know better.
yes. Pay attention to those lessons learned. So, like with the credit card debt, do you feel that that was one of your biggest like lessons learned when it comes to money, or is it another experience that you have that you feel is your biggest lesson learned when it comes to handling money?
So I would say one of credit card debt was a good lesson. I'm not gonna say it's my top one, but it's up there is because when I graduated college, I would go out. This would be my work schedule. I would go to work Sunday through no, I would go to work Sunday through Friday, Sunday through Thursday. That would be my work schedule. Go to work Sunday through Thursday. I partied Wednesday through Sunday, Wednesday to Saturday night. So, and then I had to get up early in the morning to go to work on Sunday. Like, and honestly, I would go out on Sundays too. So let's just be honest. My start of partying was Wednesday to Sunday every week. And I'll be honest, I was making like $30,000 when I first graduated college. That
Yeah.
ain't my money. I cannot afford my lifestyle going out every day.
Yeah, it's not a lot at all. Even back then, it wasn't like now when we think about 30,000, we're like, ooh, but even back then, it really wasn't a lot. So you're right. A lot of us was using, debt to, fund different things that we were doing at the time.
And that's from like traveling, partying mostly, drinking and partying. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if you knew me when I graduated, you knew I was in the streets 24/7. I've slowed down a little, but you would know, like, Wednesday, me and my friend, we would go work out, hit the streets every day, Wednesday to Sunday, every week. And so I would say that has helped me a lot. Like, dude, slow down, number one. Number two, I would say another one was one thing I wished I would have done. And sometimes, you know how you like, I want to do something. Like at one time, I wanted to form an investment group. I wish I would have done it. Everything I was trying to buy up was during the recession. And guess what? Everything is taken off. That's one of my regrets. But hey, it is what it is. And part of it is, and I'll say this, I was forming investment groups for me and my friends so that way we all can make some money together. I knew it would be a great thing, but this is, I guess, the number one lesson I've learned is, and you asked me what's the top one, so it kind of goes into the top one is you cannot wait on other people to make a decision. If you continue to wait around for other people, you're gonna lose out. And I say that to say I've lost out on several. I mean, like I could be sitting really pretty right now, but I've lost out on so much. Like I've lost out on so many opportunities from waiting on other people that I'm supposed to be doing business with, if that makes sense. So one thing I've learned is if you want it, go do it. If you can't, if the people that you're trying to do business with are not about going to do it right then when it's time to get it going, they may not be the people that you need to be in business with.
Mm-hmm.
You may need to go find more like-minded people to be in business with to make your dreams come true. Like that is my number one thing I've learned over this whole entire course of life. That's what I'm gonna call it, the course of life. That is the number one thing I've learned is you cannot wait on other people.
Yeah.
If you want it, go get it. Otherwise, you're gonna be in the same predicament you already in.
Yeah, I feel you on that because I think, naturally, we want to, of course, connect with other people, whether if it's people that we've been knowing or new people that we've met, we want to, do deals together, we can elevate together. But you're right. Sometimes they may not be ready or they may not be as serious or, together. So I guess, if you need to do it by yourself, or like you said, find some other like-minded people who are down for continuing to elevate, make a move right now versus waiting. But I agree with that too. I think that's something I'm continuously reminding myself of is that, yeah, it's cool to have people in on it to do it with you, but whoever you started with may not be the people that you
finish with,
to work with or finish with. Yeah. And you don't want to be 5 years later or 10 years later, like, dang, I should have. No, going forward, if I want to do something, if you down with it, cool. If not, okay, I'll hit you up another time, or we can, reconnect at another time to see if we can work together later. But hey, it may not be a later, so you might want to jump on this now.
Man, what you said, because like I'll be honest, like I've had the instance where me and some friends were gonna buy some property together in North Nashville. We didn't follow through. We didn't follow through and execute that plan. We could have got property for like $20,000, $15,000 back in the day. Now I sell in that area, everything is over 400,000. A lot of piece of land where a house is that you can just tear down gonna cost you 200 plus. Just for the land. We could have had stuff for $20,000 back in the day, but again, waiting on friends and partnerships to matriculate into something that it was just a dream. Again, it's only a dream. It's still a dream until you put some action and some work behind it. So until you do that, it's just a dream.
Yeah. So do you feel like whenever you do, continue to like move forward and like make your decisions and moves, do you have you had any people that came back and say, hey, they see you continuing to make moves in your life and they come back and say, hey, let's work together for real this time. Let's find another deal.
Yes, so I get that all the time. Like some of my friends, we hell, even to this day, we still like we gonna do something together, but deep down, y'all probably not gonna do anything. So I'll just leave it at that. Like you
Yeah.
still want to, like at the end of the day, and I think over time, what happens is relationships they just mature, and you either move. Like sometimes you just have moved past that part
Yeah.
of the relationship, and you're just like, I think it may be best that we just stay friends until I see that we both are putting forth the same amount of effort into making something happen.
Mm, I feel you on that because sometimes when you try to do certain deals or just have certain opportunities with people and they end up not coming through, and then they see you still like flourishing or making moves, and they reach back out later like, hey, like, can we connect and do this? But it's like by then you may not really take them as serious, and you may not want to waste your time either. So I think it is good to be like selective with people that you do business with too. And just because somebody being your friend since childhood, or or just somebody close to you, may not always mean that y'all meant to do like business together either. So I think that's something to think about too.
I will wholeheartedly agree with that. And the other part that comes to that is, let's just think about it. When you're doing deals with friends, you both got to be on the same page as if, hey, we're investing in this.
Yeah.
We may lose money. How do you feel about losing money? So I think a lot of these conversations have to be upfront. Just like with my newest venture with Brunch and Boats,
Mm-hmm.
me and my business partner on that, like we talked it out up front, like, hey man, we have an opportunity to have people out in the water, like have them have a good time. But what are the pros and cons of this? Like what could happen? Like we have to get a boat. Like the boat can break down. Like we have to be able to budget all this stuff up front. And then let's just say sometimes if you don't have those upfront talks and you just think, oh, this is going to be a hot thing, and you didn't really think the process all the way through, and then you just start hemorrhaging money, and you may know that this probably going to hemorrhage some money up front, but your investor partner may not be on the same wavelength that you may be hemorrhaging. They probably gonna get pissed off, and next thing you know, y'all mad and y'all not friends anymore because they say you lost them all their money. So that's why I say it's imperative to be, if you're gonna invest with someone, do it with a like-minded person, or vet your friends out. I would say that if you're gonna invest with them, vet them out, because vet them out.
Right. And I like what you said, talking about, hey, that we could lose money. Like with investing, I think more people are so focused on, oh, we're going to put this money in and get this much back in this period of time. But investing is a risk. So we might get some gains, but we might lose
You
something,
might
you
lose.
know?
And let's talk about it. Like most businesses, they lose the first 3 years. So you got to be in the mindset that, hey, we're going to lose some money here, folks. And if y'all not on that same page, then it's not going to be good.
Right. And I think it's like professional and also mature to have those conversations up front. Like you said, instead of having it to where weeks, months, or years later, and they're like, oh, you lost my money, when, hold up, we discussed this, that this could be a possibility. So I like that you are mature and professional, where you want to have those conversations, not just the fun and easy ones, but the uncomfortable ones. How are we going to feel if we lose all our money and it doesn't work out and we got to move on to the next thing? So I
And guess
think,
what? The bill's still going to be due, even though you done lost money. Because guess what? If you done took a loan out on something,
yeah.
you got to pay it, even though you lose some money.
Yeah, it's all about, it's like that's the part of the process, right? It's not just you put money in and you just get 100 times of it back and everything goes smooth. Sometimes it's a bit rocky before you really like see some gains. So I'm glad that you like to talk about that stuff up front, because I feel like it makes the friendship or the business relationship better too, when you guys could come to each other and talk about any and everything instead of just kind of tiptoeing around certain like conversations. So I think that is cool.
And I
And
ain't gonna lie, you got to ask the questions. Like whatever is on your mind, like get it out. Like another venture that I'm doing is an investment group with some of my frat brothers called Generational Wealth Group of Brothers. And right now we're in the process of starting a over the road trucking business. And when I tell you this thing is very intense, and we have weekly calls about the just getting started. Like we've got the loan. But again, we're about to have a truck, but the trucker won't even be on the road. So you got to talk about all of these expenses that you're going to have, that you're going to be incurring on a monthly basis until you get a driver in there. And again, those are some tough conversations. But again, until you may have to ask as many questions as possible. So that way you feel comfortable and all parties feel comfortable. And again, you can't get mad just because you may not like the answers that may matriculate that from the opportunities, but you just have to be, you just gotta know that things may happen that you may not like and be willing to accept that risk whenever you say you're gonna invest.
Yes, I love it. It's all about the journey, the learning process. So I'm glad that you're still continuing to, take advantage of opportunities and learn more about the whole investing world, and then investing in different types of things and not just one area too. And I know with investing, that's kind of one of the things, we think about when it comes to being like financially free. So I want to know from you, Ron, when you think about being financially free, like what does that mean to you?
Financially free to me is a combination of things. One is where I have residual income coming in, where, like, let's say, for instance, heaven forbids, I can't wake up every day and go sell real estate. I'll be honest, real estate is my bread and butter. If I can't get out and hit the beat, go sell real estate, that I still have some money to come in and support myself
Mm-hmm.
and my family. Like at the end of the day, like that's one of the main things. Two, it means I can still afford my lifestyle to go out and travel because that's my passion. I love to travel. So I would like to still be able to go out and travel. What else? Yeah. For the most part, like as long as I got that in my life, I feel like I am good. Like you got to have some residual because guess what? You can get fired tomorrow. So especially people on jobs, like you can get fired tomorrow, and I hate to say this, but unemployment only goes so long, and so you got to be able to make sure that you do what you have to do to hedge against the world. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And I think, when we think about being financially free, I know we all have these different, thoughts and feelings, but like when you mentioned the residual income, that's a big thing because you know how we used to, you graduate high school, right? You go to college, get you a good job, be stable, financial stability, it's a good, stable job. But we all know it don't matter who you work for, the government, corporate America, it doesn't matter where you work, your job could be gone tomorrow, whether if it's the company shutting
Living
down,
testament.
eliminated, or maybe they feel like somebody is better for your position than you and you kick to the curb and somebody else is in your spot. Like now we know that nobody is really safe or secure. That's why, like you said, creating that residual income. That way, if one of your income stops or slows down, you won't really be stressed or worried, at all or as much because you know what, you'd be like, I may have lost that job, but I got 3 or 4 other income streams over here. So, I'll still be good. So I like that you mentioned that residual income. I feel like that's something I wish I would have focused on years ago.
Hey, I'm just getting started, so I'm trying to. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to like build that up myself. So, and again, I'm just telling you stuff I've learned along the way. And
right,
I wish I would have
right?
got started with this a long time ago. It's just because I feel like I'm so far behind, even though when I talk to like financial planners and stuff, they're like, you're still young, you're not that far behind, you can catch up. But again, I am behind compared to some of my other counterparts. I am behind.
Yes, I feel the same way. Like, okay, we're in our 30s, our mid 30s. I'm 35, and I still feel like I'm behind because I really didn't get started, really changing my life till like later in my years when you, like you said, other counterparts, they started certain things at 18 and 20 years old and 21. So
or even before that.
yeah, so it's easy for us to feel we're behind. But that is true. I've gotten that too, where people who are, so I'm 35, so people who are 40, 50, 60, Cleo, you still young, you got plenty of time. And like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm still young. We got plenty of time. But at the same time, like now that we know the stuff that we know now, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to think like, oh, what if I would have started at 20? Like how much money or how much, further along professionally would I be if I would have started then? But I do also believe in things happening when it's supposed to happen. There's things that we've learned that I feel like is probably preparing us for these new opportunities that we got now. So I try to remind myself not to dwell on like, it pops up in my mind every now and then, like, damn, I wish I would have did this. But overall, I know it's not too late for me to start like learning now.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're always learning something new.
And I say that to say, I'm not saying that I'm trying to dwell on it, and I don't think you're trying to either. But what we're saying is, we're not dwelling on it, but we're taking that as a bit of motivation. You got to take that as motivation to continue to keep doing better. Am I
Yes,
right?
yes,
Oh,
keyword motivation. We are motivated to keep pushing through because I know one thing I told myself is that I didn't want to go back to certain situations I've had in the past. Now I know, unexpected things can happen in our lives that could put us in situations temporarily. But like when I used to be trifling with my spending habits, like not paying my, bills on like time, like not paying my rent and living like the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, like that was like something that I'm like, I just cannot be living my life like that. And like you mentioned, traveling, I like to travel too. And a person that I met, recently, she mentioned, and I had her as a guest on my podcast before. She mentioned, like part of her self care is like travel therapy. And I told her I hadn't heard those two words put together, and I'm like, that is like a requirement. You know how we have to have certain things in our life, like traveling is like I couldn't like not live my life and not travel anywhere. So
man, what you like? That's how I felt this past year with Corona. Like, I told my fiance, I said, look, it's the end of the year. I have not went anywhere on vacation, and I need it. Like, this is just part of what I need to stay sane. So we ended up going to Jamaica for like 10 days. And when I got back, I was just like, it just created like such a relief. So yes, travel can be therapeutic. It is a must have. If you travel, it's a must have. Like, you just see the world differently. I'll say that. And I advise anyone, if you have a little money set aside, go out and travel the world. Like, you will see how other cultures live, like, and you just get a whole new on take of the world versus what you see on TV, because everything that you see on TV is not so.
mm-mm, not
And
at
I'll just and look, and I'll leave it at that.
right. Leave it at that. Next time,
Go see the world, people.
get out of your city, your
Got to.
state, your country. I feel like you'll be better all around, like personally and professionally. So I'm with you on that with the travel. But as far as like your real estate, business, how did you decide to get into making that your career, your bread and butter, as you would say? And what do you
Okay.
think about it?
So I was actually, we were going that way already. So let me just go ahead and back up a little bit when I was talking about the job security.
Okay.
So I'll back up even further. So when I went to school for accounting and finance. I had did internships in high school, starting to do accounting and everything. Then I got to my senior year of college and I realized I do not want to do accounting. But at this point, I had gave the school all this money for an accounting degree. So guess what? You're not getting more than 4 years out of me. So that's what I'm going to finish with.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my degree and I called up my old boss from where I used to intern at the Tennessee. And I was like, hey, I've been applying everywhere, still haven't landed something. Can you help me? Like, I need a job. Like, I had just graduated I need to feel grown. Let's be honest. That's what you want to feel. You want to feel grown. Like, yeah, I done went to school, got my degree. It's time to get out on my own. Like, I feel like, when you're in college and you living on campus, you grown, right? So you living like you're like, I need to keep that lifestyle up. So I end up getting a job with him, and I worked in accounting for 7 years. And I'll be honest, I could do that job in about 5 minutes. And at the time, I would like sitting at the computer, and I was like, this is such an easy check. What am I doing with my life? And I got ready to buy a house several times. At first, my sister and I were gonna buy together. And I don't know what happened. We ended up not buying, and it was probably for the best. Thank you. Yeah, it was probably for the best because we would probably be at each other's throats. And we was fighting over who gonna get the bigger bedroom already and doing the search. I was like, this is not gonna work.
Already fighting.
Already fighting. Like, this is not gonna work. Fast forward, we got ready to buy again with which is now my business partner. I started looking, and then I had the opportunity to move to California for a job. So I decided to put that search on hold. In reality, I should have purchased that house and rented it out. That house is well over. I was gonna get that house for like $169. The house I really, really love. The house is now well over $400,000 house. Fast forward, come back from living in California, rent it for a little while, call my now business partner up and say, hey, I'm ready to buy. She said, okay. So she showed us some houses. The house I really wanted. I ended up losing out on it. It was a foreclosure. I ended up losing out on it. And I was like, okay, I'll go back to the other way. It was new construction. I ended up buying it. It was a good solid investment. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good solid investment. And at the time I told her, I said, you know what? I need a change in employment. Like, what I do is so easy to me. Like, I can do it in my sleep. Like, I know my routine when I get to work every day. I know what I'm gonna do every day. Like, it's so mundane, like it's killing me. So she said, if you go ahead and go to school and do everything you need to do to get your license, I will fully train you and help you get started in the business. I said, okay. Again, it goes back to connecting with the right people to help you get to where you need to be. Like, when I go back, like just starting back with the guy that I got my first position with, his name is Joe Hawkin. Like I said, I used to intern with him at the Tennessean, then he moved over to Sirius Marine Terminals, where I got my start after college. You gotta work your connections, people. I'm just gonna be honest, you gotta work your connections. So fast forward back to Sally. It's like, I'll train you. I said, okay. So I bought the house. I said, okay. I told her first, I said, before I get into this, I want to feel the experience of what it's like buying a house first. Because I don't want to be a hypocrite and like tell people to buy a house and I don't own the house. Like, I don't think that goes hand in hand. I ain't never bought a piece of property, but I'm gonna sell you one. Like, I'm gonna sell you something that I don't even know how the process even entails. You know what I mean? So we get through the training, all that good stuff. And I called her up. I said, hey, I done went to school. I got my license. I need to put my license with a brokerage. She said, okay, I'm gonna call my broker. I started off at Hodges and Fushi Realty. Most people thought I owned it, but we just had the same last name.
I did.
And when I'll tell you that, the broker Jody, like, he treated me like family. Like, everybody that meets me, typically we become like family, and that's how I treat everybody. I treat everybody like family because you're a friend, you're a family member. That's how I see it. Right. And well, I forgot one. So we go there, and that's how I got my start. From that is how I got my real estate start. And then fast forward a little bit further, like a year later after I got my license, I had moved over to a different a different company, and I first started off in real estate part-time. And that was for the first year. And I had moved over to a different company that was paying me more money in to do accounting. And they basically, we had went through some changes in the hierarchy, and they decided to hire all their execs and the CFO and the controller in their California office. So guess what? The CFO and the controller, they wanted their people close to them. They didn't ask the Nashville office if we wanted to relocate to Nashville. They just decided to hire all their employees in California and want us to train them. And so they paid us out of severance and all that good stuff. And I said to myself, and I told Kathleen, I said, at that moment, I said, maybe this is the big man's way of trying to tell me to go out and step out on faith. Because at that point I had, because I didn't really spend my real estate earnings because I didn't need to. I spent, let's be honest, I spent a little bit of it, but not most of it. I saved most of my real estate earnings. Then I got the severance. So I had at least about a year's worth of salary saved up in my bank account. And I said, I'm gonna step out on faith, and this is my time to go full time. I went full time, and even though when I first started off full time, I would tell my partner, I said, I don't know about this. Like the sales, they still haven't started rolling in. Like, what's going on? She was like, I was like, I may need to go back to get me an accounting job, because guess what? It felt safe. Just because something feels safe does not mean that's what you need to stick with. And I'll tell you this, within that year of going severance wise, I had replaced my salary. And every year after that, I've grown it significantly.
Wow.
So I go to say, you just sometimes have to step out on faith.
Yes, you sure do. Like, that is like the PSA, like forever, because just like you said, you felt safe in the accounting job because you know how to do it. You probably don't have to think about it. You do it with your eyes closed, probably. And, you know, just like you said, you just because you know how to do something easily and it's safe or comfortable, doesn't mean you're necessarily supposed to keep doing it. But I think, you know, when you mentioned that you would sit at your desk, you know, probably bored or, you know, ready to do something else.
Look, you can only fake working for so long.
Fake working, I know about that.
Surfing, you really surfing the internet like, what am I about to get into? Like, you can only do that for so long.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's how I felt when, you know, with insurance, I felt comfortable and safe because, you know, when you're working that job, you know when you're getting paid, you know how much you're going to get paid. It's kind of like a guaranteed check. But when you do something else, it's like you may not get a check every week or every 2 weeks like you would with your safe job. So it makes you feel like, no, you should keep doing it. But then when you keep doing it, just like you at your desk, you realize, I cannot keep doing this every day. Like I'm sure, like think if you was doing this for the next accounting for the next 10 years, like you probably would go crazy sitting at the desk for 10 years. But I like the fact that you said, just, you know, take a step of faith, and you saw that as a sign, you know, that job, you know, going away and then hiring people in California. It's like you get signs like that at the moment you may not think it's a sign, but after you start thinking about it a little bit more, you start to realize when your moment is this is the time to start whatever new journey you're trying to start. The time is now, because there's no perfect time. Like you'll probably, like for me, I know I used to tell myself, no, you should have this much saved, or you should have this much more experience, or you need to have this and that. Like you'll keep going on forever about what you really need.
What I tell you, Cleo, go get it, because ain't nobody. I remember this day when I told you that I was living in California when I first stepped out on faith, because I was trying to get out of accounting then, and I had moved to California to become like a GM. And I remember you called me that day. You was like, hey, I'm thinking about taking this job. I think it was to Charlotte, wasn't it?
I went to Florida first.
Oh yeah, it was to Orlando. That's right. It was to Orlando. He was like, I'm thinking about taking this job, but what are the buts? Like that's like a what if. A but is a what if. And let's be honest, you can what if and butt yourself out of what's really meant for you.
This is so true. And I had a long list of what ifs and buts to the point where I said, you know what? I don't know everything and I don't have this all figured out. I barely got a plan, but you know what? I'm just going to just go ahead and jump out there. And, people can think that I'm, crazy or, because I have, a daughter, people really criticize things that you do when you got, a child involved. But now that I look back on it, like I have no regrets. Not saying it was always easy, but I'm like, wow.
It's not going to be easy. If it's something that you want, it's not going to be easy. Like you got to go and put in the work. Let's be honest. And most people that are probably judging, they probably are sticking within their comfort zone and they're not living to their fullest potential.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something I think going forward in my life now, like when I'm in position where I want to try something new or take the next step at something, like I just remind myself, Cleo, you remember when you was going to relocate for the first time and you was like nervous and scared and confused and then you did it anyway? See how that worked out? So I try to remind myself of stuff like that, hey, it's not going to always be easy, but Cleo, do you want to stay stuck in whatever, moment you feel like you're doing now? Like, do you want to keep like, thinking, oh, well, what if I would have did it? How would things be now? Like, I don't have time for all of that. Like, look, if I feel like stuff.
Let's call it insanity. Come on now, let's be honest.
Oh, that's true. You would drive yourself crazy. And at this point in my life, I feel like that's like a waste of time. Like, yeah, when you reach new levels, you'll still have those thoughts that may creep in, make you a little nervous, and you may feel a little doubtful about things. But I think nowadays, I'm sure we both, we have those thoughts that creep up. We're quickly, like, we just move right past it. Like, look, we got to push through. We're going to make this work some kind of way. So I definitely believe in acknowledging when it's time to take that leap, because I feel like it'll push us, it'll challenge us to do better. I'm sure you've learned a whole lot more, and you probably feel like you have a better quality of life too, that you're doing something you actually like to do.
100%.
All day.
100%. Like, it's nothing like saying, okay, I just want to go do this. And you're just like, okay, I'm going to do this. Or like, it's called, more so it's freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom to do what you want to do, but knowing if I need to make this happen, what I got to go do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll say that because at the end of the day, everything does come at a price. You just got to be willing to do what it takes to do the things that you want.
That is true. When you said it comes at a price. So when I relocated and moved away, one thing I felt like I was missing out on is like stuff that my friends was doing back home and family. Like when y'all have activities and hang out and parties and stuff, I'm like, I can't always travel back home. So I felt like I was missing out. But I feel like me taking that step, I've learned and grown like in a whole lot of ways. So now I feel like now I'm at a position where I have more freedom to travel, to go back home when I need or want to, more than I used to, when I first relocated away. So you're right, everything comes at a price. Got to give and take.
Guess what? You didn't miss out on much. We was racking up debt, baby. You weren't missing out on much.
Been real. Racking up debt.
Look, you was just missing out on going out to have some drink and rack up some debt. It's okay. You was doing what you needed to do to get ahead.
This is true. That's exactly what I did. And that's what we gonna keep doing. Every time we elevate to a new level, we gonna keep just, taking those risks that we need to take to, reach the more opportunities that we want. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much for sharing those good gems, because I'm being reminded of some things I need to keep at the forefront too. So when it comes to real estate, purchasing or selling homes, what are a couple of tips you can share with us on, things that we can start doing today if we're wanting to purchase a home, or if someone even has a home that they're selling? I know that could be different types of advice, but what can we start doing today to get closer to our home ownership or selling a home goals?
Great question, Cleo. This is what I do on a daily basis. So let me go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty.
Yes, give it to us.
So, and most of the time, if people are selling, they're probably going to purchase again as well. So the main thing is And I say this to say, work on your credit. Pay your bills on time. Pay your bills on time. Pay your bills on time. No late payments, people. Because the banks look at those and know, and people will be surprised that paying your credit card being 30 days plus late, that can affect your score by like 90 points. You're like, what in the world? I only missed one payment and I pay everything else, but it affects your score so drastically. And most people don't realize there's like, I got this credit card statement, it said my credit is a 750, and it's been saying this for months, but they don't realize the bank, they don't just look at your FICO score. They have a whole different type of credit system that is more risk assessment credits, how they're looking at it. And they typically, most banks or credit agencies, when it comes to getting a mortgage, they look at your middle score. So you have your high score can be a 770 or whatever. Your low score can be a, let's just say 580, and your middle score can be a 620. And guess which score they're going off of? The 620.
Oh, wow.
And even for people that was like, I'm gonna buy something with a friend or with a partner, you're only as good as the person that has the least credit when it comes time to purchase. So if you guys are buying, let's say you want to buy a house together, both of your credit scores are pretty good, but your partner may have a middle score of a 620, and the loan that you need to qualify for says you need, and let's say most people, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and a lot of first-time home buyers, they need down payment assistance. And in Tennessee, for most down payment assistance programs, you need at least a 640 credit score. So let's say y'all need that income of both parties to qualify for the down payment assistance. If both of y'all don't have a mid score of at least a 640, you're not getting down payment assistance. And it's that simple.
Yeah.
And so I really say that to say, pay your bills on time, because they drastically, truly, truly, drastically affect your purchase power. Credit is key when it comes to buying a house, unless long you are loaded with cash. And most people that I know are not loaded with cash.
Yeah.
And so pay your bills on time. Another one is don't go out and, if you're going to plan to buy a house, don't go rack up a lot of debt. Don't go buy a new car before you're trying to purchase, because guess what? That's now going to affect your debt to income ratios. And if you're trying to go conventional loans, most conventional loans max out with a debt to income ratio of about 45%. And that's included all your debt. Even though your student loans are in deferment, they're included in that DTI.
They counting that too, huh?
They count it. Like anything that's credit wise, they would count it. Unless, like, for instance, say you got a car and you're about 10 months out from wrapping up all of the payments on it, then they won't count that. But for most people, that's not the case. So don't go out and buy new cars before you're trying to purchase, because it will drastically affect your credit. And let's be honest, most cars now, people are going to end up paying about a $500 note. And let's say $500, that's a lot of money. And they're looking at it on a monthly basis, $500 out of your monthly income. And they're looking at gross, even though you take home less than that. So let's be honest, we don't want to get too big for our britches. And I say that to say, when I'm talking to my clients, I always remind them, hey, when they're qualifying you off of your gross income, and you do not take gross income home. A lot of people have like 401ks and everything else that's coming out. Some people even have garnishments coming out of their checks, which makes their checks a lot less, especially if you're getting paid every 2 weeks. And let's say you added credit, a new car note, and some racked up a lot more debt, it will truly, truly affect your DTI. Yeah. And if you're going FHA, FHA is a little more lenient. They allow up to 50% DTI. Okay. But again, 50% of your income is already allocated to debt. and that's on your gross, and you're not taking gross home, you're taking a net income home. Like,
That's why it's important to get into these numbers. I see.
it is. So, and I'll just tell people, if anybody ever want to run numbers with me, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to walk you through that process. But just know, if you're in the process of looking at purchasing, don't go out and acquire new debt. Try and pay as much of your debt down as possible. And one thing they don't like to see is late. And again, the bank, let's be honest, the bank is big brother. So they don't like to see like late payments or overdrafts either. Overdrafts are derogatory when trying to get a mortgage.
Mm, overdraft fees.
So,
Don't want
so
that.
again, because they look at that as if you cannot manage your account well enough to make sure that you can fund yourself. So how are you going to fund the mortgage if you got overdrafts?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's some, even, that's something reasonable, because if you can't handle what you got going on already, so it's kind of like, how are you going to take on this new property that's going to have, a variety of expenses, attached to it. So I think nowadays more people are trying to, get things back in order. So, a lot of people, have been affected by the pandemic and the recession and have late payments. And, now a lot of people are trying to fix it now. They're trying to, get back to paying bills on time and increasing their, credit score, credit history. So if someone, did have a period of time, last year where they had those late payments, how long do you feel like they should work on having a positive payment history before the bank would actually look and not like forgive those late payments, but what would be a good period of time to say, hey, we see they had an issue, but now they're back to a good status?
So what I would tell you is most banks, they look at about 2 months worth of bank history.
Mhm.
So don't be trying to go apply and you just had late payments this month and you like, I'm gonna go apply for a loan this month or next month, because guess what? They're gonna see all of that on there. But if it gets reported to the credit agency, they're gonna see it regardless.
Mm.
If it gets reported to the credit agency, they run a report like a frauds report, and it'll show any and everything that you have out there.
Mm.
And
Wow.
they're big. I look at them as big brother, so they kind of like know all. So that's how I look at them.
Yeah.
And another thing that I will tell people is to save,
Mm.
because right now it's still a seller's market, and especially in the Nashville area and across the country as a whole, we have low inventory. So with low inventory comes multiple offers, which means you're not going to get your closing costs paid for the most part.
Mm.
And so I would just tell buyers to save as much money as possible.
Okay.
We're
Have
looking,
saved.
yeah, because I do know lenders that have programs that can do as little as 100% conventional financing with no money down and no PMI. But again, you have to qualify for those type of programs,
Mm-hmm.
or let alone they're in a low to moderate area, which just means one of those areas that's being gentrified for the most
Gotcha.
part. So
Okay.
those are some really good options compared to like your FHA financing, but I do a lot of those. But again, if someone have any questions, let me know. And then as far as home sellers, my tips to them would be take care of your house. Like show a little love, like a little love in the house goes a long way, because people can see that you care for the house, so they're willing to pay more money for your house.
Mm.
Plant seasonal flowers out there. Like curb appeal is everything. Like just show some love, went into the house, like people are willing to pay for it. A lot of people like, I can't tell you how many times people like, can I lowball on this house? Because it doesn't look as good as the one that we just seen. Because a lot of times people just don't try and keep up with the house. But the caveat to that is the market we're in, some people will see the true value that house can have, the true potential, versus there's a lot of people, And I'll be honest, I kind of fall in that category as well. Like sometimes it's hard to envision the beauty sometimes because I personally don't want to go in there and renovate. Like I may know it, but I don't want to personally go in there and start doing the renovations. Like I don't want to do that. Like I just want to move in and be ready to like live my life when I move into a place. But even for those homes that need the love, they're going overpriced. Like I showed a couple of them yesterday, and I was talking to the agent. They already got multiple offers on
Mm. Wow.
it.
Great.
So all my future buyers in this market, be prepared to pay over asking.
Mhm.
I'll just be honest. In this market, especially we're having multiple offers, even in the $1 million plus price range. And you
Mm.
can only imagine what the under 300,000 is like. This one house I showed yesterday had over 13 offers on it.
Wow. And did it just go on the market?
It just went on the market, had over 13 offers on
So things are going by quick, especially if it's a good deal, clearly.
it.
And I think that is some really useful information because there are people out there trying to sell a home. And like you said, most sellers are probably about to buy a new one. And then people who are first time, home buyers. So if you have someone who's like on the fence, like, you say you want to have a house where you just move in ready. That's like been my mindset. Like when I buy my house, my mind is like, I don't want to deal with renovations. Like I know I'm not physically doing the work, but when you buy a house and you have to get it renovated, you have to, I guess it depends on, who you're hiring to do the renovations, on how quickly they can get it done. But how do you help a client decide to buy one that needs renovation, move in ready, or just, either one of those, like if they're torn?
So I will tell them this. Number one, you're going to have the funds. If you're looking at, just being honest, if you're looking at purchasing something, excuse me, that needs a little TLC, and when I say, and I don't know when you say renovations, when I say something that need a little work, most of the time when the house need a little work, it's painting, it's cosmetic stuff,
Yeah.
little painting, pressure washing. Like a lot of homes that you just be surprised at, like the outside that are vinyl sidings, they're green on the outside because they, again, not taking the extra step of getting a little love into the house. You know what I mean? Like a little pressure washing costs you. You can go to most companies and get a pressure washer for like $450 to
Yeah.
$1,000 or whatnot, and you'd just be surprised how that could be a nice return on the house. But as far as like painting, a lot of it is always painting, flooring, updating the kitchen and the bathroom.
Okay.
And so most of that stuff you can get done pretty easily, or you can get it done as you live in there. And honestly, a lot of my clients, I tell them, because again, we're multiple offer situations. So a lot of your funds that you have that are disposable, they're going towards you securing the house. So can you live in this house in the condition that it's in until you're able to get it where you want it?
Mm.
And the answer is yes, then I would tell you to go ahead and buy it. Otherwise, more likely, you probably need to get something that's already renovated or new construction. And guess what? You're going to pay a premium price,
Mhm.
regardless. Regardless, you're going to pay a premium price because we have low inventory.
Yeah.
So you got to be willing to either put money in on the back end or on the front end.
Be ready to pay up either way, huh?
You got to be ready to pay. And but I will say, as far as my sellers that need to get their home ready, we can take care of a lot of that on the front end for them. We've done several things for our sellers. This past year was, again, it attributed to one of our it attributed to helping us have one of the best years yet. The company that we're at now called Compass, we have a service where we're able to offer to any seller Compass Concierge, which that allows for us to help you get your home ready to sell, whether that's putting in new floors, painting, HVAC system, whatever needs to get the house ready to sell. we basically are able to give you an interest-free loan that's payable, that's due back at closing. And my team will manage the whole project as well.
Mm, that's
And
a
so we've done several of these. I can send you some before and afters of projects. And when I tell you majority, every one of those that we've done, put a little love into, we have not only sold like been the highest price for that neighborhood that we've able to demand from it. And we sell most of those really quick. I'm just going to be honest. Because we know what the market wants. Like people want stuff that is ready to move in. Like most people don't want to do work. They want something that is like, okay, yeah, let me go drop my stuff off.
yes.
And those, I'll just say that to any seller, it's called Compass Concierge. Like it is an excellent program, and we use it for all our sellers for the most part. Whether that's to cover staging, you name it, we can do it.
Oh,
Getting lights, fixtures, redoing the kitchen, bathroom. We can do it. Like my business partner, her background is design and stuff like that. So I'll be honest, I turn you over to my business partner and she like put her holy magic on it. And I just come through and help manage the project and help you just get ready for a listing. Like we've done several of those. I can see you some links to some of our before and afters. Like one project that we done was in Franklin. Was to this family, the house, they had a renter, the house caught fire, the renter set their house on fire, insurance didn't want to pay. We were able to get about $120,000 from Compass to totally renovate the house. And they gave us another, I think the total budget of that house renovation was 135. They were looking at before losing money if they was to sell their house in the condition that it was in right then. So now they've already walked away and bought a new house. They just closed here recently. We sold their house last year.
yeah.
And that thing, we ended up getting multiple offers on it, and it sold well over asking as well. But it was in Franklin. I can send you a link to that one. It was 1070, was it 1072 Stonebridge Park Drive. Really great house.
Yes, yes. Send me that. I'd love to check it out because it's like just learning more about the home buying process and even learning about, on the seller side. I think that just helps us, whether for first time home buyer or we've purchased homes before. I just think the more information it helps us make the best decision. So thank you so much for sharing those details with us. That way we can start working on some things today.
You're welcome. And then one more thing I will say, and even for buyers that buy homes, let's say they do have the money on the back end, we are able to help them out as well. We've done that for clients as well. Like, like my business partner, we mostly only do that for clients that say they need their house done. Because again, it's about giving back to the people that give to us. We have gone in and they've purchased, like, I'm ready to bring this house to life like you just had my last house before I sold it. Like, I want that in my new house. So we'll go in there and help redo their whole new house.
You'll decorate the new house.
Yeah, we'll help them do that as well.
Oh yeah, because sometimes that's like a whole nother set of jobs, just getting moved in, situated, so you can, be comfortable in your new house. Because sometimes people still, they moving, but they still got to work and do all these things. So it can be a lot to get situated in a new house. So any help, I'm sure it's worth it.
Yeah. And just know that most renovations typically will take anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how in-depth the renovation is. Some of them we can get done a lot sooner, but it just really depends on what all you're wanting done.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because I think more people are learning more about, how to buy their first property or their next property. So I feel like getting some good quality professional advice on things they can start doing now, or just getting confirmation if they're already on the right track to be able to buy. So I love it. And I have some reminders myself because that's a goal on my list too. So
I'm trying to get you to buy. I'm ready for you to buy right here in Nashville, Cleo. Come on.
I know. You know what? I've been going back and forth about, okay, should I get it in Nashville or in here in Dallas Fort Worth where I'm at? But the only thing that's really keeping me here in Dallas is because my daughter Destiny is still in high school, but she graduated in May, so nothing's like really keeping me here. But I think I want to do it in my hometown, where I'm from. So the good thing is I already got my real estate agent. I don't even have to find one. I already have
You're
one.
right about that.
That part is checked off my list. I don't even have to find me nobody help me. I already know a professional. They got my best interest at heart. So I am so excited for that process. So we just want to learn a little bit more about you. So I'm gonna just ask you a few questions and you just tell me what it is. So it's just some fun facts about Ron. So the first one is, what is your favorite food?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm a fatty. I love a good burger. I love a good pizza. Like all of the bad stuff is what I like. But most importantly, you know what I really like? I like grilled food. Barbecue food is like my go-to, especially some good brisket.
Yeah.
Or preferably my all-time top is a good steak, and that is a ribeye or porterhouse. That's medium rare. That's the way to go.
Rare. When you said steak, this gave me a flashback. So years ago, y'all, we had this cabin trip. Went to the cabins in Tennessee, East Tennessee. I really don't remember what city we were in, but just a group of us as friends, we went to some cabins, and you, Andre, I don't know if it was just you or y'all two, or did you did you cook them? I know I didn't cook them.
I
but
did.
The steaks was fire, and we was just eating steaks. Like I didn't even need nothing else with the steak.
You eat that steak like chips.
It was so good. And I don't eat steak as much as I used to. It's been a while since I've had a steak. But when you said you like steak, that immediately popped up in my mind how we was eating them steaks. I don't even know how many steaks you made that day. I just know we ate a lot.
We ate a lot of steaks. Because how many? I think it was wasn't it about 10 of us that went on that trip, if that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But we went to Sam's and racked up on a bunch of food, and we just brought it back to the cabin and cooked out a lot of food.
When you know some food's good, when you don't need no extra sides with it or nothing, you can just eat it straight. No extra sauces or nothing, just eat it straight. So that was just a fun memory that just popped up in my head when you said.
Hey, we need to do that again, though.
Yes, most definitely. I actually, someone that I follow had shared a link in their Instagram story of this Airbnb, but it was in Atlanta. So I'm gonna send it to you so you can just check it out. But hey, it can be wherever. So I'm definitely down for that. So next is, what is your favorite season? Spring, winter, summer, fall?
So I would tell you it's fall. I mean, summer, but I think I'm becoming more of a fall person. I think so. I'm not really liking winter much at all because and I'm not really liking spring as much because it's so much rain. And even in the winters in Nashville, it's just like becoming so much rain and the gray skies. I'm not liking it, but I am a summer fall person, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that.
Fall, I think, is becoming more so my friend because the temperature is like almost tropical.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I love summer. I like the heat. It's definitely different in Texas with the summer and the heats, but I do agree with you with the fall. It's like, you kind of easing into the cooler. I always hated winter because I don't like to be freezing cold. I can't stand it. It's hard to get me out the house in the winter unless I have to. But yes, I'm all for the summer vibes and the fall tropical vibes too. So I'm down with that.
The older I get, the worse I hate the cold. I'm not gonna lie.
What is it about that? Like the older we get, I feel the same way. Like when I was younger, I could tolerate it more, because we used to be out in the streets hanging out. And now it's like, I don't even want to go to the grocery store if it's too cold.
Like, man, I gotta go show houses in the cold now. Oh Lord.
See, your job, so you got to be outside in the elements no matter what. I guess unless it's lightning or something, and I'm sure you
No,
probably
we
won't
still
go.
out there, Cleo. We still out there.
Really? So rain or shine, huh?
Rain, shine, snow, sleet, whatever. We might be out there on the road showing the houses.
Got to get it done, huh? Don't matter what the weather is. Can't
People
stop.
still need places to live, so you cannot stop doing business because the weather.
That's true. That makes more sense when you put it that way.
Because I'll say this: even after the tornadoes in Nashville, I was
Mm.
out showing probably like the next day or two.
Wow. I did not know that.
And some of them were in the areas that were damaged from the tornado.
Mm.
So
Wow. And that
people,
was
that
February
was
of last year, right?
no, that was March of last year.
Okay.
I think it was March 6th to be exact.
Yeah, I
Then
think,
COVID hit right afterwards.
yeah. And I think those tornadoes, like I remember hearing about that, but I don't think, I guess nobody expected it to be what it did.
I
Cause
know, I didn't because I was I was watching TV that night, and I was on the couch watching TV. I noticed I was like, "Darn, it's getting dark outside." And then I kept seeing this flashing light. I thought it was lightning. I was like, "Let me let my dogs out real quick." Let my dogs out. My mom calls me. She was like, "Man, did you see the tornadoes? The tore up Nashville?" I was like, "No, what are you talking about?"
oh
I turned on the news and I said, "Oh my gosh, this devastation is horrible." And then I
mhm.
ended up volunteering to go help clean it up,
Yeah,
and then was back out showing in the same areas as well.
gotta get right back to work, huh?
Yeah,
Gotta get it done.
never stop.
Yeah, never stop. All right. So next one is the traveling. So we know you love to travel.
You know I
So
love to travel.
yeah. So what is your favorite place that you've traveled to? And what's a place you haven't been to yet that you're looking forward to visiting?
All right, those are some great questions because I'll say this: I have several favorite destinations, but I would say Italy. I did a tour like of Italy, like from Rome down to Sorrento, like Amalfi Coast tour that I did, and I would say that was 2019. I did that in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say that's probably been the best trip I've taken thus far. And the reason, most of the time when I go to travel is to party, like turn up, like have a really great time. But I would say that was probably the most culturally enriching vacation I ever been on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made it even more special.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just when I tell you, and you're seeing these massive buildings like the Colosseum, that like this stuff was erected before Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, and part of it is still standing. And then you see the magnitude of this building, like at one time was like all marble.
Wow.
And you can still see some of the marble benches in the Coliseum that haven't decayed as of yet. Like, and
Mm.
you can see the whole magnitude of the building, and then you can see like where the walls had plaster on them at one time from the
Mm.
engravings and stuff. And then you go to other buildings like the aqueduct, and you just see like all of this. Like, I mean, it just is out, and like I said, it's culturally enriching. Like, it's one of the best vacations I've ever been on. And
Yeah.
besides that, like another great vacation I've been on
Mm-hmm.
was when I did my European tour. I started off in Germany, then I went to the Netherlands, then I ended in France. Like, that was a crazy trip that I took with my cousin. Like, he was stationed in Germany, and
Mm-hmm.
it was his last hoorah there. So I just went, and like we went for Oktoberfest
Wow.
and started off at Oktoberfest, and that was a hell of a trip. Like, hey, both of them were great. Like, I realized the nightclubs in France, I was in Paris, so the nightclubs in Paris, they open up at like midnight and they go to like 6 in the morning. I couldn't speak
Wow.
any French, but I had my Google Translator and got everything I needed. I had such an amazing time. those are some of my top trips. But the trip that I'm looking forward to the most, I was supposed to do last year for my 35th. I was supposed to go to Africa,
Yeah.
and I was gonna hit a few places there, starting in South Africa. I want to do like a safari, and then go. I did like the ancestor DNA test, and I was gonna try and hit up some of the countries off of there, like Ghana. Like I was gonna try and go ahead and apply for my citizenship to Ghana, since they're opening it up where we can get that. And
Yeah.
so I am still looking forward to that trip.
Oh, that'll be cool. See, it's like now you have to like make up for not being able to kind of like
Exactly.
travel all this time. And even though I know there's still like limitations with certain like activities you could probably do certain places, but and I know one thing that I've noticed, like when people travel nowadays and they post it, you'll have people say, "Why are you traveling? We're still in a pandemic." But it's like at this point, you're not safe at home. So it's just kind of like
And to speak on that, Cleo, like I said, we went to Jamaica this past year at the end of December. And when I tell you, honestly, I felt safer there as far as pandemic wise. I felt safer there than I do in Tennessee, because they took their restrictions more serious. I should say that they took their restrictions a lot more serious. Like they had an actual curfew at 7 o'clock. They had to be off the streets by 7, otherwise they'd get a fine and going to jail.
wow. You know what? I've seen a lot of memes that talk about America, United States of America compared to other countries. And people think other countries think we take it as a joke. We don't take it as serious, because that is true. Other countries, other places do have more restrictions where they still allowing you to do things, live your life, but like the restrictions you would say. I do have someone that I follow that went to Jamaica, and they said that they had to take a COVID test before they went,
Yeah,
but
you
also
do.
had to take more when they got there if they were trying to go to different places.
Yeah, like when you have to already have taken a COVID test within I think it was when I went, it was the last 10 days. And then as you're getting off the plane, they have people scanning for your temperature to make sure that you don't have any kind of symptoms like a fever or anything. If you do, you get sent right over to the sideline to be COVID tested again.
Oh, wow. They ain't
Oh, and
playing, huh?
no, they're not playing. And so like my fiance, she has asthma, and she was like, I'm actually, because she was actually scared about going on the trip, and she was like, you know what? I actually am glad I went on the trip, because I feel I felt safer that I went. Like it wasn't as what I thought the news had been saying. I should say that. Now I say that not to say that they don't have COVID,
Right.
but I just feel like they were taking it a lot more serious. I should say that.
Yeah. And that's important when traveling. You want to make sure you can, still have a good time, but also make sure you go into a place that, takes people's health seriously. So I'm glad you guys went to a place where you still had a good time, but they was taking care of people by making sure everybody's cool.
And even the resorts, they were taking everything serious too. So kudos to them.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. So what's one thing you like to do that makes you happy and you excited to do, but it doesn't involve working and making money?
Cleo, that's travel.
You know what? I thought about that as I asked the question. I said, I think he's probably going to say traveling, because we discussed this already, that he loves traveling. So I'm sure when you ain't working, you're trying to get on a flight or a boat or something to go somewhere.
Like typically, in this past year was hard on me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I'm say this because again, it's one of my passions. Like I really love traveling. And last year, like typically I probably go somewhere at least 6-7 times a year.
Yeah.
And last year couldn't really go many places. So I went to Jamaica. So I extended that for like 10 days or whatnot. But
Yeah. Well, that's cool. We're gonna get these traveling in, more than last year. So we got to get our travel therapy. We got to say that our travel therapy is self-care. It's required.
Ooh.
Right. All right. So next here is $500,000. So I want to know, if you had $500,000 right now, what's the first three things that you would do right now? No judgment.
I have $500,000 right now. First, I'm going to go pay off the rest of my debt.
Get it done.
Then the rest, then I'm gonna save the rest, and then I'll throw some more back into some investing. That's what I would do with it.
Yeah, getting straight to work.
Because at least once you're debt free, then all your income is basic liquid assets. Like you just do whatever you want. Then
Yeah,
full power.
more freedom to do more of the things that you really want to do.
Exactly.
So next we're going to move on to the financial affirmations. So I've already shuffled them. I'm going to shuffle them one more time.
Well, you're a little clumsy with your shuffling. So.
I know, you see. You see, I'm down here trying to get them all together. So I don't need to be dropping deck of cards here looking crazy.
Well, we know you're good at that.
I've gotten better over the years,
Well, I can't wait to see.
All right, so I'm going to pull a card and I'm going to read the financial affirmation, and I want you to just tell me how it makes you feel or how it relates to your own personal or professional journey. All right. So I have here, I ask for help when I need it.
Oh, that's easy. Anytime. I feel like I kind of covered this throughout the broadcast. And that's my whole life. Like, I've never been afraid to ask for help. Like I can go back to when I first started interviewing at when I first took on the internship at the Tennessean. And that was through high school, and I was in the academy finance program, and you were too. And you knew that, like, that program, and I hate to say this, but that program, I wasn't supposed to go back. I wasn't supposed to go back. Like, I was only supposed to have that 1 year of internship. But between me working hard to prove myself and them liking what I was producing, I would just call back and say, hey, do you mind if I come back? And they said, no, not at all. We want you every year. And I hate that another student didn't get the opportunity to come to the Tennessean, but it allowed me to form connections to better myself. And then with that, I realized that never not ask for help. And so, like I said, when I graduated college, I was still working there until I graduated college. Like, did I go and travel during the summertime and stuff like that? No, I worked at the Tennessean every summer. Like, I came home to work. And so by the time I graduated, I just called them up and said, hey, I need some help. Can you help me get a job? Guess what? I got a job.
Right. Gotta ask, right? Just like you mentioned before, it's kind of crazy how I picked this card for you randomly. And I immediately thought about what you said at the beginning of the conversation about, connecting with people, that can help you elevate, and that you got to open up your mouth and ask for help. And that's something that I struggle with, because I felt like I just need to figure it out because I'm an adult, I'm a parent, I should be able to figure this out and, get stuff done, find my own opportunities. But as I get older and get more experience and opportunities, I realize everybody is asking for help. Everybody needs help at different levels of their lives. So we shouldn't be ashamed of it, embarrassed about it. Some people are going to be glad to help you. Some people, you may come across someone that not interested in helping you, and that's fine, because when one
they're not meant for you anyway.
Yes. That's true. If one person, that person may not want to help you, but there's like 2, 3, 4, 5 other people that will be glad to help you with whatever you need. So just think about that, that there's somebody out there that's going to be for you. And just like you said, if they don't, they ain't for you. And that's cool. Move on to the next.
And you can't get mad that they don't want to help you though. Because again, that may not be their personality to be a giver that can help you with knowledge. That may not be who they really are. So you can't get mad at them. And I know people sometimes we as people, because at the end of the day, we're human. We get pissed off. But at the end of the day, you can't get mad at them because they didn't do what you wanted them to do in that moment.
Yeah.
They're not the right person for you.
That's true. You're right about that. And I think it's healthy not to get upset either, because like everything isn't for everybody. I mean, I've been asked to do things that I either can't do or just not interested in doing. Like I feel like somebody probably be a better fit to help you with that than me. So I definitely understand the power of finding like the right person to help you, at the right time. So I love it.
And y'all personalities may not even be good for each other. Let's be honest.
That's a good one too. Sometimes personalities clash where it might be in your best interest not to work together or get help from a certain person on something. So,
and I use that in my business to this day. Like me and my business partner, like if we feel that one of us may be better suited for a different person, we'll just like, hey, you work with this person now, and I'll take over the other stuff that we got going on. And we just help balance each other out. And I just think that is key into like success in anything.
Yeah, most definitely. I love it. So last question here for you, Ron. So when it comes to giving advice, sometimes we're asked, what advice would we give to our younger self? But I want to know, what advice would you give to yourself right now in this moment?
Not to my younger self. Because I got
not to our younger self. What advice would you give yourself today, right now? This could be any type of financial or life advice in general. Like, what advice would you give to yourself today?
Never stop learning. Never stop asking questions, because I feel like that's how most people learn, is by asking questions. I know personally, I have to ask the question, then I have to like put myself in the environment to do it. Because if I don't, it won't like stick to me. So for me, like that's one thing I feel like I have to keep telling myself is don't stop learning. So I always keep trying to surround myself with people that I feel like know more than me. Because let's be honest, it's not going to do you any good to be the smartest person in the room.
Right.
If you're the smartest person in the room, who are you going to learn from?
This is true. We don't want to stay stuck.
And like, I know like people all over, they always say, and just in the industry that I'm in, people always say, I'm hiring a coach. I got a mentor. Like I have a mentor. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm the smartest cook in the room. I'm always trying to learn more. So that's my advice to myself. Continue to keep trying to learn more.
Yes, I love it. I'm on that same wave. I always got to be learning and open to receive new information so we can continue to elevate, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So I love it. So I have totally enjoyed this conversation, Ron.
Always.
Long overdue. We'll say that again. Long overdue. No, just playing with.
And I just want to say this to you. My apologies for having to keep rescheduling, but you know how the real estate market is. It is bonkers. And
yes.
Now I had this time this morning, and once I get off this call, I got to prepare for another meeting that I have to go and sell some houses. But
right.
I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be part of the show. And hopefully you and I can have our own talk show one day or something, because we got good chemistry on this thing right here. I'm just saying, like, we can do something else. Another stream of income, Cleo. There it is.
Yes, yes. Oh, yes. I will be scheduling us another meeting so we can talk more about that, because I know we've been talking about that for a while anyway, and I think that's long overdue too. So I'm looking forward to that. But I want you to share with us, everyone out there listening, how they can connect with you and support you.
Yes, if you are in the market or you have friends in the market that are relocating to Nashville, live in Nashville, or want to purchase in Nashville, feel free to have them contact me at 473-8336, or you can reach us on our website, Barkley, Barkley, Hodges, Hodges Group, group.com. You can reach us there, or you can reach us on Facebook. On Facebook, we're on the Barkley and Hodges Group, and on Instagram, we're Barkley and Hodges Group as well, at Barkley and Hodges Group. So feel free to reach out. We would love to serve the community. And one thing I do want to share that we do as a group, as a real estate group, part of our sales proceeds, we give back to this charity called Homes for Homes. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with Homes for Homes, they build homes in third world countries, I guess you could say third world countries. I'm not sure that's politically correct, but in some of the hardest, I guess you could say low income, hard hit areas for people that don't have homes. And let's be honest, home, as far as real estate, home serves as a community. It serves as a foundation of a family. It serves as a security blanket. So we give part of our proceeds to Homes for Homes. And with Homes for Homes, they can build a house for $3,500 for a family. Mm. And again, it's not a fancy house like we have here in the States, but it is a home that they can lock their doors and don't have to worry about people stealing their stuff or just rummaging through their things. Like, it is a place that's secure to them that they can call home, and it's called Homes for Homes.
Yes, I love that. I'm always excited about hearing about ways that people and companies are giving back, paying it forward, and helping other people who are, less fortunate and may need some help, right?
And you can find it on our website too, Cleo. They go to barkleyandhodgesgroup.com. We actually have a link in there on Homes for Home.
Okay, great. I'm going to check that out too, because I love that kind of stuff. And everyone out there listening, I hope you guys have taken some notes and got some good advice and tips on how you can elevate to your next financial goal when it comes to buying or selling a home. And definitely reach out to Ron, connect with him and his company and his partner, so you can find someone that you like, that you vibe with. I know you will vibe with Ron because he's like the best, I mean, who else is better, and his partner, they're both great at what they do. So if you're in the market for buying or selling a home, or if you know someone, like you said, reach out to him on social media, on the website, or you can call him. Or if you just have some questions about how to crunch these numbers so you can figure out, what your next step is, definitely reach out. And this is the end of the show. But before I go, I want to, as I always do, encourage you to just do your best every single day and take it one step at a time. And as you navigate through your financial journey, don't wonder what if, take a risk, and have an amazing week.
Financially free with Cleo.